Okay, we are on to lesson 1.3. So the first part of lesson 1.3 is writing and evaluating expressions. In class, you are going to get a bunch of different words, and we are going to be separating those words into different sections. We will do one example down here of translating verbal phrases into expressions, but we will do more of this in class. It says translate verbal phrases into expressions. 6 more than, we hopefully know that more than is plus. The quantity will always mean that you're going to have some sort of a parenthesis. 8 times a number x. Times is obviously multiplication. So we would write this expression as 6 more than, so plus, the quantity 8x. 6 plus 8x. We will be doing a lot of these examples in class. Go ahead and flip to unit rate. A rate is a ratio that compares two values. Usually it's expressed as per. So for example, beats per minute or miles per hour. A unit rate is how much of something per 1 unit. How much of something per 1 unit of something else. So if 100 cars pass by in 2 hours, the unit rate, so if it's 50 cars for 2 hours, the unit rate would be 25 cars for 1 hour. That would be our unit rate. How do you find a unit rate? In order to find a unit rate, you divide the numerator divided by the denominator. For example, if I had 100 beats for 2 minutes, if I were to divide the 100 divided by 2, we would be left with 50 beats for 1 minute. Remember, our goal is to always get our denominator to be 1. Let's say I have something like 30 miles for 2.5 gallons. If I wanted to know how many miles per gallon, I would just divide 30 divided by 2.5. 30 divided by 2.5 is 12. So 12 miles per gallon. That would be my unit rate. We will also work with converting into different units. So for example, letter A says a car travels 120 miles in 2 hours. How fast is the car going in feet per second? When we do these problems, we are always going to draw one long division line. We're going to start with what we know, which is 120 miles for 2 hours. Then we are going to end with what we want, which is feet per second. So we are going to want feet on top and seconds on the bottom. Then we need to use the information that we know to get from miles to feet and hours to second. Now remember, this is one long division sign. So our goal is to get things on the opposite of the line so that we are able to cancel units out. So for example, I always start with the top. It's 120 miles, and I want to get from miles to feet. Well, is there anything we know about miles and feet? Well, if we look up in our conversion factors chart, we know there are 5,280 feet per 1 mile. With that being true, I'm going to put the 5,280 feet on top for 1 mile on the bottom. What ends up happening here is that our miles can cancel out. Now we're left with feet per hours. So we have feet on top, so we're good. We don't have to worry about the distance anymore. Now we need to go from hours to seconds. Well, what's one thing we know about hours that will get us closer to seconds? Well, we know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now we have to think about, are we going to be putting the 60 minutes on top and the hour on the bottom, or the hour on top and the 60 minutes on the bottom? Remember, whatever goes in each of these sections have to be equivalent to each other. The reason I'm going to put the hour on top is so I can cancel out those units because they are on opposite sides. So now we have feet per minute, but that is not what we want. We want feet per second. So we have one more conversion that we need to do. We know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. So we're going to put 1 minute on top and 60 seconds on the bottom. We're able to cancel out our minutes. Notice you are only canceling out the hour, the minute, the miles. You're not canceling out the number itself. We are left with feet per second. So all we have left to do here is multiply everything on top, straight across, everything on bottom, straight across, and then use our big long division sign and divide the two. And that will get us how fast the car is going to be in feet per second. And that is where we are going to end today. We will go over this again in class tomorrow.